Morning, another lovely day here at Lake Garda in Italy. P1 firing up there. We're all getting ready to go on the road today. We're heading back up towards the final meet point of the tour we've been on in Innsbruck before we go up to Munich, somehow get the 918 back to Stuttgart, and yeah, we've got a couple more adventures ahead. A few more passes to hit now, so we better get in the R8 and get on the way. Brilliant day so far on the hills, just switchback hairpins, mountain passes, fun. We've got the whole line of cars behind us right now on this spectacular road. Brilliant lunch stop up at the top, wonderful day. It's really, really warm and the view is absolutely phenomenal here in the Alps. Oh, it's just amazing. This is exactly what you need to do with a car, and this is a pretty good car to do it. You've got lots of faith in the car, the all-wheel drive. I personally really like, because it means you can pull quite a lot of speed through the corners, especially some of the really tight stuff you have here. But and the gearbox, downshifts for days. We've got to a service station near Innsbruck, and this is where we're going to split ways. I'm lucky enough now to be taking the 918 back to Zuffenhausen near Stuttgart, the home of Porsche, to hand it back, which is going to be quite cool. A little bit unsure how this is going to go. But the other guys are all going to go off in the 6 Series that's been driving with us, and the P1's over here somewhere, and head back towards Munich. So it's been pretty crazy up to this point, and now the adventure continues with the 918 back to Stuttgart, before we then go back to Ingolstadt to drop the Audi, before tomorrow we go and visit BMW. So yeah, back on the road. Got to put some cameras in the 918 and get ready to roll. So then, here we are on board the Porsche 918 Spyder, and I've been driving now for probably 30-40 kilometers. Got a bit of an idea of what's going on and a little bit more to talk to you about. So this little switch here is very interesting. You've got 4 modes, E, H, S and R. E is E mode. Immediately you can watch the revs drop off. We are now running entirely on the 279 electric horsepower, twin electric motors.
After 1 kilometre, exit the highway and exit 113.
I've got the navigation set as well, we'll get to that. H, hybrid mode, kicks in the engine when it's needed. So at the moment I've been running on E mode a bit, so it's charging it up. There's a little gauge in the bottom right corner of how much power the E mode has. At the top is the petrol gauge. Then sport mode will always keep the engine on. Then you've got the full power available. It adds the 608 horsepower.
350 metres, turn right towards Walter.
As I was saying, the 608 horsepower, the full power from the 4.6 litre V8 that this car has. So you've got 887 horsepower available to you in total, which is quite something. Obviously it's all-wheel drive, so it gives you a lot of confidence to drive. It is very big, but it does sound pretty good. Yeah, so race mode, which I'm not brave enough to try right now. Well, maybe I'll just put it in, but we're not gonna drive hard. Obviously we'll keep it in lower gears. It probably turns off traction a little bit. I don't know 100%, but we're fully automated on the gearbox still. So put it back in sport, because that's how I want to drive it. This top dial, I sort of assume it's got a little clock symbol, maybe it's cruise control or something. The next one, M, puts it whether you're going to be running entirely on manual paddles or off M back into automatic. This button, I think, brings up that display you see there, where you can look at the battery charge information on the main display. So you've also got settings you can scroll through, the left and right display. On the left you can have the current speed limit, your car number, stuff like that. On the right screen you can have the standard information screen that I've got right now. I don't know how much of it you can read, the usual trip stuff basically. Then temperatures display, so the oil, water, all of that. And then some more stuff about this journey in particular, when you need to plug it in, how much fuel you've got. And then the boost gauge. Oh, and of course the lap timer, and tyre pressures, and G sensors. Gosh, there are a lot of modes. Okay, so you've got a lot of settings. The paddles are fixed to the wheel on the back here, quite nice feel, quite a long way in, so a little bit hard to get, but I love the press, and the naturally aspirated engine obviously blips incredibly quickly. Key goes into the left, and then you've got the lights dial here. On the door you've got cruise control, windows, all mirrors, all of that stuff. And here you've got the lever that takes you from drive to neutral to reverse, and P for park. So that all works pretty well. It's all very nice. This display, you can bring up the nav display, although I'm a little bit confused because I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing and how I get it back. Right now we've got this electrical view, but it's a little bit curved, which is quite cool. I think it matches whichever mode you're in. Then you have the main display, which if you have the dual view nav is the top-down sort of geographical map. All of these touch panel buttons to go through the different modes. I talked a little bit about that in a different video. But it's very noisy in here, which I didn't quite know. And I think one probably negative, if there was a negative, is the seating position. It's a little bit too straight backed. The guys who are driving it have all said that it gets a bit uncomfortable after time, and I'm already starting to feel it. I actually get really quite sore backs, which is so I have to be a bit careful with what cars I buy for myself. But yeah, it's very, very straight, so I found it quite awkward to get the right seating position, I guess. If anything, the steering wheel's a little bit, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. The pedals are a long way in relation to where the wheel is. I've got the wheel as low as it goes, given that you can't move the seat other than forwards, backwards, and the wheel in this position still feels a little bit too high. I want it just a touch lower, but it does all the usual stuff very well. This interface is very nice.
At the roundabout,
got all the
800 meters.
The aircon controls and all of that. And obviously when you're in drive, if you want to flip the downshifts, you can override that, so that all works pretty well. Press manual to keep it so that it stays in manual. And you get a lot of V8 noise. It's pretty cool looking in the rear view mirror. Oh, the spoiler's gone down now, but obviously it comes up and down. The thing that's crazy is how
After
immensely...
300 meters, turn left at the roundabout, taking the second exit onto Memmingen Bundesstraße.
Okay, yes sir, yes madam even. Yeah, I was going to say how immensely powerful it is. When you put your foot down, it just flies. We're heading towards the autobahn, so that will be interesting. We're in Austria at the moment. But it's crazy, this car. It's absolutely crazy. It feels quite large. You can see the front, the wheel arches.
Turn left at the roundabout,
but there's
taking the second exit.
There's not that much of the car beyond those. So it's actually quite easy to position. Now this is where, just for fun, put it in E mode, engine goes off. Oh, it hasn't because I'm on manual paddles. Right, manual paddles overrides the engine, it seems. So if
Take
you're on...
the second exit onto Memmingen Bundesstraße.
I have no idea if she's pronouncing that right. Sounds confusing to me. So now we're in E mode. Let's put our foot down. Whoa! That's crazy! So yeah, you just witnessed this car driving in E mode. In E mode, with that horsepower, you get 0 to 62 miles an hour, 100 kilometers an hour. It takes, I think it's 7 seconds flat, and then in a top speed is something like 93 miles per hour. So top of my head, you'll have to excuse me if that's wrong, it's about 150 kilometers per hour. The when you're not in E mode, 0 to 62 becomes 2.6, and the top speed is a shade over 210. I think it's 211 miles per hour. We've got some bright sun in front of us right now, but it's clearly a pretty powerful car. Just wow. Been driving the R8 V10 Plus that we're chasing at the moment, and that's been a lot of fun with the S-tronic gearbox. Obviously the same family of cars, Audi S-tronic, well, Audi and Porsche, the S-tronic and the Audi, the PDK and the Porsche. But yeah, wow, it's a pretty cool view you get in the mirrors. You can see in the side inlets, get a nice glance at everything that's going on there. But E-mode is just weird. I mean, you get E-mode in ordinary, dare I say it, cars. It's when you've got E-mode in a car that you know has the performance that this has. Put it into hybrid mode, and the engine roars back into life. Goodness me. Probably can't see. In fact, actually, maybe you can see me in the rearview mirror. I've just got a really, really, really big smile on my face because this is absolutely unreal. I've had a little go in it before. But now I'm actually getting to learn it a little bit more. It's just a shame we're in traffic, really. But getting to learn it a little bit more, know and understand more of what it's up to. V8 you can hear there, but steering wise quite like it. It's very easy to direct. I mean, it is a Porsche, so you'd expect it to drive very, very well. My initial reactions when you do put your foot down, you do feel a little bit like the car's going absolutely crazy and squirming away from you. Not badly so, it's just a sensation you feel that I'm not necessarily used to, I guess. But yeah, it's pretty nice in here in the Porsche 918 Spyder. Feeling pretty lucky to have this experience to be able to tell you a little bit about it. Be good to be able to make a full comparison to P1 and LaFerrari, what everyone's talking about. I think one thing I do love is obviously the roof, two-part roof that comes off and you can stow in the front. It's actually really easy to do. Shoulder piece showing you how exactly you do that, but it takes about a minute, maybe a touch over. But yeah, so this has the convertible trump card, I suppose, whereas the others are both full carbon shells. I mean, they all have their own advantages, don't they? Haven't really had too much experience with LaFerrari so far, so I couldn't tell you too much, but P1 versus 918, the performance thing. In the 918, it's quite slow until you're up at the top end of the rev band, until you're between 7,000 and 9,000, and unless you obviously drop the gear a lot. Whereas you take the P1, which has so much torque, you accelerate it forth in the P1 and it will just fly away from you. So I guess that's a bit of a difference. So possibly A to B on the road, this is a quicker car. I mean, all of these cars go so fast that you shouldn't really be doing that anyway, but I think the P1 will be faster on track if the electric motor can keep up to the end of the lap or some stuff like that. There's all sorts of stories going around, but yeah, here we are, Porsche 918. I hope you've been interested in some of my my thoughts and musings and what I had to say about it. I'm sorry they're not perhaps the most expertly opinionated or qualified thoughts, but that's just how the car feels to me. And hopefully, presumably, you guys, if this was you right here, this is how it would feel to you. was 325 kilometers per hour in the Porsche 918 Spyder here on the German autobahn, unrestricted roads where it's completely legal to do so, just to be very careful and safe, of course. But what is amazing me is this car had so much more to give. That wasn't even all of it, and even at that speed, it's stable and you're in control and there's nothing to worry about. And I've driven other cars fast, well, plenty of other cars on the autobahn pretty fast, and I've never experienced anything quite so planted as that. I mean, the R8 behind is pretty good as well. I mean, all-wheel drive here is what it's all about. You've got the front pulling you through. 887 brake horsepower though. The top speed officially is 211 miles per hour, 325 kilometers. That will be a shade over the top of 200 miles an hour. Wow, that's actually quite scary thinking about it. That's really, really fast. That's probably 201 miles an hour, 202 miles an hour, and it just does it, just like that. It just blasts up through the gears. We're back in the R8, the Porsche has been dropped. We're outside the Porsche Museum actually right now here in Zuffenhausen, Stuttgart. They keep all the press cars in a special place around the corner. This is a really cool building though, and there's a dealership just next to us. But from here we're going basically over in the direction of Ingolstadt, because we're going to be dropping off this car, the R8 V10 Plus, tomorrow. But that was a pretty awesome drive in the 918, I'm not going to lie. Absolutely epic. Anyway, we're on the way now. It's just an autobahn cruise from here to Ingolstadt. Maybe grab a bite to eat on the way there, and then a rest, because tomorrow we're doing some things with this car, and then we're heading over to BMW. So yeah, good times ahead. This is an R8 V10 Plus, the flagship when they launched the new sort of. Here we are in the Porsche 918. Key in, turn it on. You're immediately in E mode.